There's a reason that for the last 5 to 6 years I've referred to the Metro division as the scam division, the scam side of the playoff bracket. That's because in the last 6 years, the New York Islanders have weaseled their way to the conference finals twice, the New York Rangers have weaseled their way to the conference finals twice, and the Carolina Hurricanes have made their way to the conference finals twice. And of all those teams, how many do you think made it past that round to the Stanley Cup final? You don't have to think about this very long. A grand total of 0. 0 teams. You want to know why? Because the true Stanley Cup caliber competition has constantly been coming from the Atlantic Division, between the Lightning and the Panthers, and how good the Bruins were. And, regardless with their playoff failures, the Toronto Maple Leafs and their repeated 100-point seasons, and yet down on the other side of the bracket, the Islanders and the Rangers, they're making it there. And I think the Carolina Hurricanes relearned that lesson last night in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final. You're not playing the Washington Capitals or the New Jersey Devils anymore. Carolina's down 1-0 in this series, and if they lose the next game, that's essentially the series. But for those of us out there with that plus 575 ticket, we're sitting kind of pretty right now. Nothing's written in stone, but you got to like our chances going up 0-1 on the road after taking that Game 7. As I told you guys, the Lightning, Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Carolina Hurricanes, 3 of the best home ice advantages in the NHL this year. But as I told you, there isn't a building, there is not a circumstance that Florida cannot waltz into a building, doesn't matter, and just lay an absolute beating. You've seen that in Game 5 in Toronto, Game 7 in Toronto, now Game 1 in Carolina. We just have to face it. This is that level of team. And they're just nasty. It's as simple as that. We saw it last night. It's going to be a tall order for Carolina in this series. But that was last night. That was the Eastern Conference Finals. Tonight, we got the Western Conference Finals kicking off. We got Edmonton going into Dallas for Game 1. And as far as Game 1s go, you guys know, Game 1s have the highest variety of potential outcomes. You can have a 5-2 game between two clenched ass cheeks team like last night, or even the round before that, you could have a 5-4, 6-4 Game 1 between Florida and Toronto, because Game 1s, the refs are more likely to call penalties. There's not as much on the line. It's not a team potentially being eliminated. The refs don't fully swallow their whistles, so you get multiple power play opportunities. You get multiple goals. So there could be goals on the menu in this Game 1. However, there's a monkey wrench that's getting in the way for me. Imagine this. Every postseason, we find ourselves saying this at some point with this damn guy. Stuart Skinner's coming off back-to-back shutouts. And you typically know that when a goalie pitches a shutout, I kind of like riding that in the next game. Back-to-back shutouts? That's a whole different story. However, there's been kind of a lengthy break, and if there's one thing that throws a goalie out of rhythm, it's somewhat of a lengthy break between games. So I'm going to kind of discount the Stuart Skinner back-to-back shutouts simply because it's not, when goalies have those shutouts, I like when they're going every other night so they can get right back out there. We've seen this happen multiple times. I'll use the same 2 examples. Carolina could never score on Bobrovsky. They had a week and a half off. Vegas shelled them every single game. Vasilevsky shut out the Florida Panthers pretty much every game of that 2022 series, then got shelled by the Rangers games 1, 2, all because there was an extended layoff. Layoff is awful for goalies. But anyway, in this Game 1, there are some potential opportunities for points to be taken. You like that? We've said so many unders. I know you want to hear some overs. I think this is a potential game for it. But before I get into that, I told you I was waiting to find some head-to-head matchups when it comes to series props. And I definitely found a couple that I like. First of all, on Bet Rivers, head-to-head points, Evan Bouchard versus Miro Heiskanen. You have Miro Heiskanen, who's working his way back. He's clearly not at his previous allotment of ice time. That's why they were dressing 7 defensemen. But more importantly, even though DeBoer says, no, he's going to be rotating on that top power play, Thomas Harley did a fantastic job on that top power play. He's going to remain on that top power play. Even if it is 50% of the time, I think it's going to be more than that. The guy just won the series on a power play goal in the last round. They're not taking him off that top power play. So you have a power play 1 defenseman for what can be an absolutely lethal power play. Bouchard, who's been piling up points in both rounds, Against Miro Heiskanen, a guy who's just returning, I think Bet Rivers made a little mistake here. Like, I don't know if I would give you this bet if it was Thomas Harley. But Miro Heiskanen coming back, he's a fantastic player. But this is still Miro Heiskanen working himself back to full form. And if he's not even the power play one, like he's not on the Rantanen unit, which I will talk about in a second for our next bets. But this is just one that I love. I told you I like the over 5.5 points on him for the series. I will take Evan Bouchard over Miro Heiskanen head-to-head in points. And then in goals on ESPN Bet, I took Wyatt Johnston over Zach Hyman. Very simple. One's on the top power play, one is not. Zach Hyman, he was replaced in favor of Corey Perry on that top power play. Maybe it changes throughout the series, but to me, you guys know how Snakeonomics works. That power play one bump is a lot. And the flip side of the power play one bump is the power play two demotion. That's where Hyman's at. He's going to have to score his goals at even strength, which he can. He's starting playing with McDavid in game one. And then the limited power play two time that he gets once Corey Perry leaves the ice. So when you compare that with Wyatt Johnston, who is definitely on that top power play. We saw how he played against Colorado. Last series was slow, but you know it's a series against Winnipeg, who is a pretty good defensive team. I like Wyatt Johnston to have more goals than Zach Hyman in this series. And then on DraftKings, a relatively interesting one, Wyatt Johnston versus Rupe Hintz, head-to-head most shots on goal in the series. I'm going Wyatt Johnston. He is a natural shooter. He is a shoot-first kind of guy. On the power play, they're looking to put it on his stick. We know that once he gets a hot hand, he's the one just blasting shots all over the place. Rupe Hintz, he's a little bit of both. I mean, when he played with Jason Robertson, he was always more of an assist guy than he was the scorer on that line. He's playing with Rantanen, so that's what he has working for him. But I like Wyatt Johnston, a shoot-first kind of guy over Rupe Hintz, who's more of an all-around type of player. So I'll take Wyatt Johnston in both of those head-to-head bets. I know the DraftKings one's weird, taking two teammates versus each other. I took Barkov against Tkachuk in the other series, too. I kind of like that. You know, like if you hate a guy on a team and you like someone else on a team, you can just kind of fade the one you don't like. But anyway, as far as this game goes, I just mentioned Wyatt Johnston a bunch of times. The reason I kind of like his situation here, if you saw the practice reports leading into this series, this is the second line Dallas is going with in this series in order to try to get Duchene going, get Robertson going. They got Duchene centering Wyatt Johnston and Jason Robertson on the second line. That's a pretty solid line, if you ask me. You had their top goal scorer in the playoffs last year with their top goal scorer from the season this year, 100-point guy, Jason Robertson, although I think it's a scam 100-point guy. Then you had Matt Duchene, who was piling up points this year, 2 productive years in a row. And you have 2 guys who are on that top power play. So I'm seeing opportunities with both Wyatt Johnston, Matt Duchene. Give me Matt Duchene for a point, minus 105. Second line, top power play. He's not playing with Sagan, Marchment, but I think he's getting an upgrade if you ask me. He's also playing at center. You could always get that free assist, which is why I'm going to do that line combo, an assist for Matt Duchene and a point for Wyatt Johnston. Hey, game one, maybe you get some power plays. Maybe you get bad Stuart Skinner. I think getting 2 guys who are on the second line and top power play is a pretty good deal. These aren't bums we're talking about. These are really good players who have very affordable point prop prices in this game one against the Edmonton Oilers. And I also think on the heels of that overtime series-winning goal that Thomas Harley, who's been money all playoffs long and who we have confirmation is going to be on the point on that top power play, is also a pretty good bet for a point. So I'll take the over on Harley. I guess I think there are going to be some goals in this game because on the other side, it's every game. I told you I'm doing it every game of the playoffs as long as it's plus money. Give me Evan Bouchard for a point, Connor McDavid for an assist, Leon Draisaitl for a point, Evan Bouchard for an assist. That's what I have for you here in this game. Remember, doesn't matter who wins. We are going to take whoever loses the game, their Conn Smythe. I'm kind of hoping Edmonton loses this game, although Dallas is historically a slow starting team. They won game one last round, but I mean, what was it, 7 game ones before that they lost in a row? So they're typically a slow starting team. We'll see. Maybe last round was the start of a new streak where they win a bunch of game ones. I'm kind of hoping for all you guys. Now, I have my McDavid Conn Smythes in. I took them when they were down. But I'm kind of hoping that the Oilers lose this game 1 so that you guys can get a jacked up rate on that McDavid Conn Smythe. And rather than having to take the Oilers to win the series, you take that McDavid Conn Smythe. And we're going to work on our Stanley Cup Finals scam for a second straight year. First, we got to lock up this Panthers Eastern Conference. But I think I'm rooting for Dallas tonight so I can get all you guys. Maybe I'll buy some additional shares of Connor McDavid. You got to think that bumps him back up to what, plus 550, plus 600. So I'm kind of hoping for that game 1 Dallas win. We'll see if it happens. I'm not sure. I don't have a lean either way in this game. I will say when a team like the Edmonton Oilers wins 8 out of their last 9 playoff games, back-to-back shutouts, I don't like picking against teams who are on that kind of run. They have a little invincibility cloak surrounding them right now. So I wouldn't even play Ekholm if he was healthy in this game. I need to see them lose first. But I guess we will see, because this is one damn good Dallas team. This should be a great series. This one, I think, is going to provide more drama than the other one, but who knows?
Who knows?
But one thing that I do know is that I appreciate every single time that you guys like these videos and comment on these videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click those notifications. But not nearly as much as when I get that notification, I see, well, I got another new minority owner who's going to be part of this. And where can you do that? Over at the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Andy Francess. That's where Josh puts all his baseball picks. That's where that's where I put stuff out for yesterday. That's where I put those series picks. If I can't get videos out, just know it will always be on there. That's where there's a bunch of chat rooms talking to the other sniffers, not just about hockey. There's an NBA room. I'll never go in there. But there's all sorts of rooms for all sorts of sports. I hope to see you there. If not, I'll see you for the next round of NHL Sniffs. Take it easy.